All right, everyone, welcome to the weekly wave. I want to go ahead and get started. So the first thing I want to talk about is our ASR. Since it's still open, we'll probably see this slide until it closes, but it closes on July 1st, 2022. As far as certification on that, it's normally you'd be responsible or required to certify that report 10 days after your last day of school. So it has to be certified by the time your RAO is there. But want to make you aware that you need to be checking for parent-teacher conference days, making sure they're accurate, professional, snow days, and holidays. Please check those on your calendar and make sure they're entered correctly. Also, check your transportation in your student view and make sure that it's correct. We want you to check your find missing students, as if there's someone in there that doesn't have an STN or has a validation error, that needs to be corrected in order for you to be able to count that child. And new this year, we've added the alt ed student view. So please verify under the student list, under this section part, that make sure that the students that are there are correct and are attending or have attended your alt ed programs. For those that are seeing errors in that area, we've got an online data entry that is now available. So if you see some kids that are not correct, you can come to us and request that we open that up, and so you can correct the dates. And so just reach out to us at studentdatainfo@osde.ok.gov, or you can contact State Aid and they can also open up that section for you to correct. State Aid also, or on the ASR, there is a notes section. If you make a note in that section, it's going to automatically email the State Aid office. And if you've got questions in regards just to the ASR, please contact the state.aid@osde.ok.gov, or you can contact Lori at 405-522-0139 or Mitzi at 405-522-0120. Lori, are you on the call? Or Mitzi?
Yes, I am on. I had to make sure I didn't turn my video on like I did last week. So I was being more careful.
Do you have anything to add?
I don't think so. We've been sending out we're doing follow-up emails on our parent-teacher conference days. That seems to be the big thing that's going on, is we're not getting those, and people are like, well, we've never sent those, or no one's ever told me. This is a different year, and we're kind of zoning in on trying to get those done, so when we do pre-populate the hours or the days to hours worksheet, then it'll populate correctly. We've been having problems. I don't know. You're really, the best thing to do is contact your vendor. And whenever we send the email, you can go in and look under the statistical report and look under calendars, and you can sort or filter by 0845, and you can see what days you're sending and if you're even sending those correctly. I've had a lot of people, and I don't really believe I'm saying this to people who probably know exactly what they're doing, because you guys are on these meetings all the time. But just in case, if we're sending you an email, it's really best that you go and look and learn how to read the statistical report, rather than come back and say, hey, is it right? Or can you tell me if it's still wrong? Well, you know what? There's 540 of you. We're back to that. I can't go look at all of them. Yes, I can follow up sometimes, but we're getting ready to go into May, and you guys know what May's like, because you get to report all that stuff to us. I don't have anything other than that.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, we're going to move on to the exit and dropout code. So last week I asked, I'll go over the slides, but I asked any of you districts that had questions in regards to this to please email me. I got one email, and it really wasn't reference to this. So I'm going to go over these slides, and then I've got Alyssa Griggs with accountability on with us too, and she will help in addressing the email that we received. So if you enter an incorrect exit code, it's going to affect your dropout report and your graduation report. And if it's not entered before you certify. It needs to be entered before you certify your ASR. If it's not, corrections are not going to be allowed for exit that occurred during the school year and before the certification. So please keep that in mind. That needs to happen. Valid exit codes are listed below. This is a continuation of that. If you've got questions about the exit codes, you can contact accountability at the email address, which is accountability@sde.ok.gov, or studentdatainfo@sde.ok.gov. I've also included a list of dropout codes and their explanations. So this slide presentation will be available on our website for you to review that. Now, that's basically that. Alyssa, we got an email from Joseph, and he had a question on the school data tab in accountability application. The term span column is blank, and he would like to know what data object is that pulling from, and the required codes are listed in the term information object in the waiver requirements Airtable. And also on the individual student coursework tab, our students enrolled in post-secondary classes now show an N in the PS credit eligible column or a general student coursework tab. On the individual coursework tab, courses that have a Y in the PS course column all have an N in the PS credit column or credit eligible column. It appears to be related to the term span also, because the reason is term count missing for term span. So far, he's not been able to trace where the term span is being pulled from or generated. So he's asking how this issue can be corrected. Alyssa, would you like to speak to that?
Yes. So can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Listen, before you start, this is Joe. I would like to amend that information I sent in the email.
Okay.
I did find that I had made a mistake when I put the word block on the term. I put it in the wrong place. So yesterday, mid-morning, I put the word block in my on my terms, and I expected that to actually make a difference, but it hasn't so far. So if I go look at a student right now, I've got one up, or I had one up, who has a concurrent single semester class at a college. He's got a grade from the first semester, and everything on that student's individual detail about that course is filled in, looks like correctly, but he's still got a no on eligible. I'm not sure if it's pulled yet and the changes I made or not. So that's partly what I'm asking.
Okay. Joseph, this is Alyssa Griggs from the Office of Accountability. And one thing is that there is currently a bug on the accountability reporting application in the coursework table. So they are currently fixing that in the front end. So hopefully sometime this week that will be fixed. However, I do want to make sure that that student is showing up correctly. So if you can send us a sample SDN that we can take a look at, and so that we can verify that it's going to be pulled correctly after that fix.
Yes, I can do that quite easily.
Okay.
I'll have that to you right after the end of this call.
Awesome.
Hey, Alyssa, this is Terry Warren from Choctaw, and Joseph and a few of us other Power School users were kind of having a discussion yesterday about this. My term span on my courses is completely blank also.
Okay.
And when I go to the students, it has a term of semester 1 or semester 2 or whatever, but on the actual course itself, the term span is missing. Is that what you're talking about the bug is affecting?
Yes, that is affecting that bug. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, and I know there's some questions in the chat. We're going to address those at the end of the call. So just kind of be patient with us on that. Okay. Next thing. Thanks, Alyssa, for that information. I appreciate it. Okay, transfers. Each district will be able to extend existing transfers beginning May 1st. And yesterday we had a meeting and Eric brought up a good point. So although you have the ability to extend your transfers beginning May 1st, if you go in and extend everyone right away and you've got your capacities, you're at capacity, if your resident students begin to enroll, you might be over capacity. So you can extend them on whoever you want, but you don't have to. It's available, but you don't have to. So just keep that in mind. Just
if you have new, if you have new neighborhoods going within your district boundaries, if you have a lot of new development around with housing and stuff like that, you may want to consider a new apartment complex or something like that. You may want to consider the benefits and risks of approving all of your current transfers for next year before you got enrollment for some of that new development in your district for your residents. Just something to think about. Not necessarily does that affect everyone. Rural schools may not have as much development as some of the more urban schools. So just something to consider as you go through and approve transfers for next year for students that are currently transfers this year. Thanks.
And so any transfers in your queue that have not been finalized by June 30th, they'll be deleted in the transfer system, and those parents will have to reapply. Also, your capacity numbers, it will be available 15 days prior to the quarter and then up to 15 days after. So you're going to have a 30-day span there to report capacity. Virtual district transfers. All virtual district entries must have a virtual transfer started on them. This lets us track, well, it's a statutory requirement that ensures the student's mobility in and out of a virtual transfer that has no more than 2 transfers into a virtual charter per school year. So that is definitely something that needs to be done, and it's in regards to the statute that was July 1st, 2021. Rollover for 22-23. The wave's going to be shut down from July 11th to July 22nd. That's a Friday. And then the following Monday, the rollover should be complete and it'll be back up on the 25th. So prior to doing a SIF agent rollover, we need you to put your zones to sleep. So if you're having issues doing that, you need to either reach out to your vendor for assistance, or you can contact us at studentdatainfo@sde.ok.gov. Medium instruction, this is going to be new for next year. So each section in your system should identify and include this, the student's basis of the type of instruction you're providing. This means each section might have a virtual class and a brick and mortar class when applicable. So need to make sure those sections are set up appropriately. There is going to be a CCOSA Pre-Conference, and the things that they're going to be discussing in it is this class size audit. This is going to bring in people from accreditation and the developer of the class size audit to see how we can do things better. Also, it's going to talk about how does the data get from the wave and what are things that we can make it to be easier. We have enlisted a few people from different districts to participate in this conference, which is going to be very helpful. And also, Alyssa from accountability, her and her team we want to make sure that they know everything they need to know about the reports and accountability reporting. So That's just a kind of a FYI for you. And also remember, if you've got questions in regards to anything, you can email us at studentdatainfo@sde.ok.gov, and all the documents and guides are out there on the SDE website under student-information-documents-guides and -guides. So that's all I have on the slide presentation. We'll go to the chat now and see if we can address your questions. Amanda Davis Summers has, if the online data entry, if you do the online data entry, will any utilities run that override what they've entered, or will the manual entry stick? Once you've done it, well, Eric, do you want to address that? And if you're talking, you're on mute.
I couldn't find the mute button.
Oh, okay.
When the online student application when will this online student application transfer application be available? No, that's not the right question.
No, it's the very top one about Alt-Ed. If they do an online data entry, will any
stay.
It should stay. Okay.
Yep, it should stay.
All right. And Jana asked, is there a way to export the second tier of the student view? Yes, there is. So when you go into reporting tools, there should be a student view report. It includes that second tier of information on your ASR. Okay, and I guess Paula, you're having the same issue with term span. So in the report. So look, we'll try to get something out to let you know when that bug has been fixed. And I guess,
but it wouldn't hurt to send us an email too with same thing that I've told Joseph. If you can provide an SDN, that will help us to make sure that it is showing up correctly.
so if Paula and June send accountability at sde.ok.gov, and they'll be able to look into that for you. Carrie asked, is there a due date by which parents need to be notified for renewing transfer approvals and denials?
The only renewals, I'm going to jump in here. Only renewals that are even possible are the ones that you guys decide whether you're not. I hate to. You're not denying requests after the year is done, or on May 1st. You're not denying requests. You're just simply not approving them for next year. Yeah, they haven't made a request for next year. You already have them in your school system, so you're allowing them to continue on without remaking a request. That is what you are doing. You're not approving a transfer for next year. You're not approving a transfer request. You're extending an already accepted transfer request. Next year, July 1 is the first date that any school or any parent will be able to request for a transfer for next year. That's the first time they'll ever be able to request. If that helps you understand that better. If it's not, obviously, if any requests, essentially any requests that have not been approved or finalized by the end of the fiscal year, obviously those will not be approved because the fiscal year is over and we're starting a new year. So we will go ahead and finalize those by saying they were not approved, and we will start fresh on July 1. Any parents that have not been approved will be denied for the 21-22 school year, and they will be asked to reapply for the 22-23 school year.
Okay, Dina asked, her understanding is that we can't deny based on capacity. I would think we'd need to deny them based upon attendance or discipline. If it's a capacity issue, you just leave them in your system. Am I right there, Eric? I mean, they would just leave them there like on a wait list.
That's yes.
Okay.
I'm very confused because I was referring to what the conversation about the May 1st approvals. Unless and I'm like trying to scan through the law, but I don't have my highlighted copy here at work with me. It's probably at home, but My understanding is everybody that is here this year on a transfer, an open transfer, regardless of status, military, blah, 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 they're an automatic for next year unless unless there's discipline or attendance, depending on your board policy that's put in place. But the capacity piece, once they're here, the original law, yes, but the change when they updated mid-January took the capacity piece out for when you're looking from 21-22 to 22-23. Regardless of your capacity, if they're here, if they're not a discipline problem and an attendance problem, you have to keep them.
No, the transfer request is only for 1 year. For 1 year.
So you're telling us, because this is not what we've been told by OSSBA. You're telling us that I could deny I'm not going to, but I could literally deny every single transfer that we currently have for capacity.
The way that I have been told from Ryan and the way I have been explained to, a transfer request is good for a request of 1 year. That's it.
Okay.
They have to reapply every year to my understanding.
Okay.
I will get more clarification on this. I will ensure that I am absolutely understanding what Ryan has told me, and it may be my mistake. So please give me a week. I will make sure this is on the next weekly wave call again to make sure we clarify all this up. But I want to make, but I, from my understanding, and we've had many conversations around this. My understanding is that a transfer request is only good for 1 year.
That'd be great. That'd be very helpful.
That's my understanding.
Like you said, with buildings, but okay.
But let me make sure. I will make sure this is on the weekly wave next year or next week for sure.
We're not having one next week. It'll be the prior week.
The following week. I apologize because you're right. We're out. We have to do a modernization meeting next week, but the following week it will be on the video. If you can't attend, please make sure that you go out and watch the video. But we will make sure that it is addressed on the next weekly wave call. Because I want to make sure that I'm right too. But that's from my understanding, that is what is correct. And I will for sure be the first one to admit that I was wrong. If Ryan says, no, you got this wrong, Eric, that's fine. But I will make sure this is addressed. And I'm right now typing an email.
Well, and I'd like for Ryan to be on the call too. So we'll see if we can get him to participate. Okay. Chris is asking, as a virtual school, we are collecting intent to return information from families. If we were to approve all extensions or approve students that change their minds, do I need to go back, or do I need to have that canceled by July 1 of 2022?
Yes, we would appreciate it if you could. If they don't change their mind until June 30th at 5:30 p.m. and you got 14 of them and you're not going to get through them. I get that. But do as many as you can, Chris. It would be my answer.
Okay. Angela wants to know if the wave is down, will the student transfer application be down as also during the July 11th through 22nd period? No. Will it?
I'll have to find out. I'm not sure. I hadn't thought about that.
All right.
But I don't think so. But let me make sure.
And Dina's question is similar. Is the transfer portal still open on July 11th? So we'll get that answer for you. Amanda, for a student to be considered blended rather than virtual, is there a threshold? I understand it is to be at least one course in person qualifies you as blended, or does it need to be more than one course? Our secondary has 6 courses a day. So our understanding is at least 1 out of 6 courses for a person in order to qualify as blended.
In order to qualify as blended, they have to have at least 1 course on campus and 1 course off campus on a regular basis in a virtual or distance learning schedule.
Okay.
So.
All right. And June wants to know, why do they need to put their SIF agent to sleep?
The reason we don't want to put your SIF agents to sleep is because when you start doing your SIF agent rollovers, if your agent isn't asleep, or if your zone is not asleep, we will start receiving a lot of records from your student information system, like deletions and changes of status and all sorts of things. Like you will change all your free and reduced from free, reduced, community eligible, whatever other things you have in your system to pay for everyone. You will change things like you might delete enrollments that actually existed because your system is thinking it's rolling over for the next year. It doesn't understand what it's, some agents don't understand what they're sending to us. It's just sending what the database is doing, which in a lot of cases is changing a bunch of statuses, changing homeless statuses, changing, all those things. And it's resetting all of 2021, 2022 data, preparing for 22, 23. And that does a lot of damage to accountability data, does a lot of damage to free and reduced data, PBT, all these different things. So people start not getting the benefits and the money that they believe they should because they changed their data, not even knowing they did it. If you put your zone to sleep, nothing can change. That's why we're asking you to do that.
Yeah, and I just want to add to that. So in the past, for accountability, what had happened is that, if you have economically disadvantaged students, those numbers goes to 0, and then we ended up not reporting economically disadvantaged students for your district if you don't put them to sleep. Also, we have issues where the grade level rolls up, and so that affects cohort calculation. So we've had issues before where we had to adjust the grade level from the previous year to make sure that the cohort year for that student or for those students are being calculated correctly. So we've had, students in the past that were being counted for cohort 2018 when they should have been cohort 2019. So I hope that helps.
Thank you both. Okay, Taryn wants to know when the COSA conference is. Isn't it in June?
June 7th.
Okay, all right.
Is the pre-conference. June 7th, 8th, and 9th, if I'm not mistaken, is the actual conference.
Okay, thank you. When will online student transfer application be available? Will the printed and online forms be available in Spanish?
Right now, we have an English version, and I think it's translatable using Google Translate to other languages. It also is, it will be available when OMES signs off on the security patches to the website. The form is already available. It's just not on there and open to the public because we have some security issues with the website that OMES will not approve that release until that's done. So that's where we're at with that. Unfortunately, there's only one resource for the entire state, and OMES is trying to prioritize that those security patches as quickly as possible.
Okay.
So that's the answer.
Sandy wants to know, is SDE collecting immunization records at this time?
No, ma'am, and I hope we never do because I don't want to deal with HIPAA.
Okay. She said her last question, attendance code DVAP says that we use this code, it equals absent and excused with a 0 value. But usually an absence requires a value of 0.5 or 1.
Yep.
We've gotten errors on this before.
Yep. And we are aware of that, Amanda. So just ignore those errors. We will continue to work to correct that issue. We're aware of that. That hasn't happened always. It's just for whatever reason, we're seeing that error pop. So we know that that's true. And we're working to get that fixed as quickly as we can with the other 50,000 priorities. So bear with us, but yep, we're aware. Just ignore it.
Okay. Chris wants to know, after the end of the school year, if students have an exit code and an exit date, but they are still active, will they populate correctly in the accountability reports?
Say that one more time. I'm sorry, I missed the first part.
So at the end of the school year, if a student's if students have an exit code and exit date, but are still active, will they populate correctly on accountability reports?
That are still active, meaning that they will be going to the school next year.
Chris, if you can unmute, that'd be helpful. I don't know.
I believe what she's referring to is the ASRs requiring certification only if they have an exit date and an exit code. So we're wondering if we leave them active and they still have an exit code and an exit date, will that still allow us to certify?
The only ones you really need to address are going to be your graduating seniors and students that have left the district throughout the year. Those need to have an exit code and exit date.
So I finally figured out how to unmute on my phone. So, okay. So in our system in Power School, our graduated kids move to a graduated school when we roll over, because we're not going to roll over now until after you guys pull all of your data. They're going to be sitting there. They will have an exit date. They will have an exit code, but their enrollment status on our system would still be a 0, which is active, instead of a 2, which is inactive. So I'm wondering if that enrollment status code is going to make a difference on whether or not they're going to show as graduated on the wave or not.
Well, will they have, Chris, this is Lisa, I'm sorry, will they have an exit code of 1921 to show that they're graduated, or what your equivalency is in your system to show that they've earned their diploma?
Yeah, we can put the 1921 on, and all of our kids will have an exit date after the last day of school anyway, but typically they stay active until we roll over.
Gotcha.
So-
So I think as long as we have the exit date and the exit code, then it should be fine, but we can also watch the data to make sure that that's the case.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Thank you, everyone. Okay, Darla wants to know, so do parents have to apply every year? Actually, if you use the extend feature on the transfer app, no, they don't. But if you choose not to, then they would have to reapply each year. Okay. Joseph asked, please clarify how to download the ASR student view second level. I go to ASR, select site, and go to reporting tools. Are you referring to the absent report? No, there should be a student view report that's got a drop in the drop down.
It's at the bottom. You kind of have to scroll down, Nancy, to get it.
Okay. So Joseph, I can follow up with you and go through that with you after the call if you'd like. But it is there. All right. Melinda wants to know, our district has written in our transfer policy that any transfer already approved from years past will continue to roll over as an approved transfer from year to year. If there isn't any behavioral or attendance issues, will we need to go into the transfer app and reapply for all these students? No, in that situation, when it opens up in May, on May 1st, there is a field under reports that is an extend. You would just open that up and you would go through your list, and either, I haven't seen it, so I think you just click extend or yes or no. And
In
that
this
will-
situation, your district policy is going to control this, and your district policy says you're going to approve everyone from behavior or attendance issues. That's your district policy. That's what you're going to follow. So you're going to approve everybody on May 1st or whenever that didn't have discipline and attendance issues or behavior and attendance issues. That's pretty much spelled out in your policy. If that's the case, then you will go ahead and go into the May 1st, sometime between May 1st and June 30th, you'll go in and approve all your transfers. If that's not your district policy, you have the option to wait and not accept just everybody that was already accepted. I'm still checking on that with Ryan right now, so
Okay.
I'll let you know.
Carolyn wants to know, is there a way to export the second tier in student view? I'm going to have to check on that because I'm not able to get in there right now and look at it.
Yes, you can export it. Up at the top, there should be a little button that says save, and you can download it to Excel, CSV, PDF.
Okay.
But you have to already be in the student view. It's not under reporting tools. You go
No,
in.
it's under reporting tools.
It
Oh,
isn't-
I have it. You can also do it in student view.
But it doesn't bring up the second tier.
I
in
didn't bring
student
up
view.
second tier. I'm getting in there right now.
You can see it in the student view, but it won't export that information in the student view. That's why they went in and provided us that in the student view on the reporting tools.
Yeah, it's under reporting tools and you select student view report. And then you view the report.
And it does give you an export.
Yeah, mine's loading. Yes, up at the top, you've got like pages 1 through 38 and there's a little save button and you can export it to Excel.
Okay, Joseph's saying it doesn't include the second tier, but Joseph, you're going to have to scroll all the way over and it should include that information to the right.
Yeah, I'm seeing entry date, exit reason, membership attendance, transfer. I see everything.
And basis of admission.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and that's how it was set up. So if
Yeah,
you're having issues, please contact me and I'd be more than happy to walk you through it.
Or they can call us too, Nancy,
Okay.
because I've got it pulled up right now. I'm looking at it.
They're saying they don't have student view.
Under reporting tools,
It's got to be under reporting tools.
and you select the report.
Yeah, I don't have a student view report. I have absent, district calendar, site status, and summary.
Oh, okay, let me get with Thomas.
Okay, we'll get that corrected. So just be on the lookout for that. And if you have questions, you can contact me. You can contact our office at studentdatainfo@sde.ok.gov or state aid. We will help you if you let us know that you're not able to see it after we give us, what do you think, maybe a couple days, Mitzi, for Thomas to look at it?
Yeah, if he's here, usually he's really good. So
I'll definitely update you on the next meeting that we have. Okay, so Jason wants to know, when working the district ownership conflicts with other districts, should we verify that there is an approved transfer by the receiving district in the transfer portal before we process a withdrawal? I don't know the answer to that. Eric?
Sorry, I missed that completely because I was talking to Robert about the transfer app and if the wave was going to, or if it was going to be affected by the wave downage or outage.
Okay.
So what'd you say?
So when they're working with the district ownership conflicts with other districts, should they verify there is an approved transfer by the receiving district in the transfer portal before we process a withdrawal? I mean,
When working with virtual districts, they should always have a transfer in there for sure. When working with
resident districts, I would say no.
I would say you don't have to, but it's probably a good practice to check just to make sure that there is a transfer request in the system.
Okay.
Because they are transferring out of, if you're the home site, then if you're the resident district, then it's good to know where your students are. That
Right, but now it doesn't sound right. So
this is Mitzi. Kathy Conrad, what district are you with? I need to give an example so they can see that you're not being able to see that report.
there's a lot of them that they
Yeah,
don't
there's a
see
lot
it.
of them that can't
Okay, so just
see it.
pick one.
Choctaw,
No, it's
Magoa Park.
everybody.
Choctaw,
Okay.
okay.
Mila,
Thank
Minden Hall at Putnam City can't see it. So
Okay, thanks, Mila.
Owasso, can't see it either. This is Ann.
Hey, Ann.
Hey, we can't see it either, Mitzi.
Okay,
Okay, we're working on it. We'll get it fixed for y'all. I mean, I was hoping that it was already available for you, so, but we'll get it fixed. Okay. One virtual district has not completed any transfers for students they enrolled this spring. Should I wait on a transfer?
No, because, well, we're going to have those conversations with those virtual districts. All students for virtual districts, no, don't wait on them right now because you're not required to do any approval process right now on the first transfer anyway. However, we're going to have to, as an agency, we're going to have those conversations with our virtual districts to let them understand that if they don't already know, and some of them might be here on today, because that new statute that, you know, some men not even realize it passed. But that new statute requires all students moving into a virtual district to be a virtual transfer, so we can know how many times they move. They can only move into a virtual district twice a year. That's what the new statute says. So we're going to have to put some additional guidance out there for our virtual districts that we haven't gotten out quite as well as we should have probably. So we're going to have to put out some of that information out to our virtual districts that they probably don't even realize because it was something that was done late in the year. So we'll just have to get that training out. So just continue to work on your transfers the way you work on them, Paula. But you shouldn't have to be checking up on virtual districts. No, they have their own work. Thank you, Mindy.
Okay.
We will. I will make sure that we get. Absolutely, blame me. It's all my fault. If you're doing something wrong, it's Eric's fault. Y'all can all blame me. That's fine. I'm 100% good with that. But just remember what happens if I get fired. Then you have to deal with everybody else.
Okay. It seems like the main topic right now is not being able to see that.
That report.
Yes, so we're going to work on that. And if everybody's a member of the collaboration teams channel, we'll put it out there when it's been fixed.
Thank you guys for a wonderful meeting today and all the input and conversation. We really appreciate it. And you get us all the time. I love it when we find problems together that we don't even know about. So we'll get that fixed for you guys. We'll keep working to make it better for everybody, for sure.
Okay, and we'll go ahead and post the slides and this call after we're done. It does take a little bit to get the call up, but I appreciate everyone for joining. And like I said, we will not have a call next week, but we will be back the following week. So everybody have a great day and great weekend, and we'll talk to you then.
And Mindy, I'm not going to let that go to waste. I'm going to copy it and send it to myself and to Chris so that she can see it too, just in case she needs to see it. But that comment did not go to waste. I'm glad that you put that in here. Thank you.
You too, Kathy. All right, guys, have a great one.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.